a lady in the Rockhampton region that needs no introduction. Please welcome Hannah Daniels.
Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen and opposition, welcome to Rocky and welcome to Beef Week. Established 30 years ago, in the good old days, back in 1988, when the spectacular and friendly World Expo opened in Brizzy. The wholesome Man from Snowy River 2 was screening at the cinemas. And if you said you were having troubles with your dongle, you'd book yourself straight in for an appointment with our friendly GP here. When this 7-day celebration of cows was founded back in 1988, the good old Broncos played their first ever game of rugby league, defeating Manly 44-10. Manly. That's your Paul, isn't it? That's your team, isn't it? Paul Murray?
Good enough, I'm kind of...
He's shaking his head yes over there, ladies and gentlemen. And where did they play it? Back at good old rough and tumble Lang Park, where a dispute was settled with a good old bit of biff and a lot of lip. None of this video referee business holding up the game for 10 minutes. An uppercut from the hooker and a good kick up the rectum would sort it out. And play would be underway again. And Lang Park, ladies and gentlemen, was named after the upstanding Presbyterian minister, John Lang. There was none of this schmoozy corporate Suncorp Stadium business. Back in the day, we had lines to keep the corporates out. And not the sort of lines the opposition's thinking of either, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I further transport you back to this marvellous golden age of innocence and chivalry, I've got to address some of these glaring aberrations coming from the negative side. I mean, seriously, Lehmo, how seriously can we take this man swanning in from down south in his chinos and his Greens How to Vote cards? You should have seen him earlier, throwing them around like confetti out there he was. I was embarrassed. And to be honest, all I can recall from Lehmo's argument tonight is that he was batting for our side, recalling sweet childhood memories of riding carefree in constriction-free cars without seatbelts on beautiful summer days. That's all that's left me from Lehmo's speech. Look, back in the day, we would call a spade a spade. Now nothing is what it seems. If you were twittering, you were out in the backyard with the birds. And if you said you were doing a blog, well, you'd be met with raised eyebrows and a can of Glen 20. I mean, really, how much weight do we give the arguments of these hipsters on my left? And Instagram, that's how much weight we give them. Right, now I've cleared up the rot. I'm going to get back to the statement that all but the opposition can clearly see, because their Google glasses are no doubt fogging up over there, that you can't beat the good old days. Look, I come from good stock, beef stock. I grew up here in Rocky as one of 5 kids at a time where, when you had a mobile phone, it meant someone had accidentally bumped the dial-up off the sideboard and sent it flying. When you got a text, you'd gone to the library and borrowed an encyclopedia. And when you were tagging someone, you were actually in the schoolyard playing tag. Now, it's all fake friends, fake news and fake eyelashes which you pop on for your fake following on Facebook, whilst you desperately fake it till you make it onto MasterChef, when you suddenly realise you can't cook because for every night of your life you've ordered in Uber Eats. What a travesty, ladies and gentlemen, what a travesty that we've strayed so far from the good old days. Which brings me to my first point, social media. Look, it's anything but. Can you remember when you'd knock off work on a Friday at 5 and you'd head down to the alleys to meet up with your 3 best mates? Not because you'd accepted an event invite on Facebook, but because that's just what you did. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I would rather have 3 good friends than 553 who I barely know, scattered all across the globe and who tick maybe when I say let's catch up for a bevy. There's no commitment anymore because real life, face-to-face, has been replaced by pixelated FaceTime. Look, back in my day, when you hung out, you'd head to the food court with your friends at shopping fair for a kebab. These days, you're in a Google Hangout wearing noise-cancelling headphones, twittering away to strangers whilst you drink bamboo-infused water out of jam jars. Back in the good old days, we took risks and had fun because we weren't being filmed every second of our lives. We could pole dance out the front of Subway at 3 a.m. on the no standing sign because we wouldn't have to resign the next day at work when someone emails it to HR. We could go to the Cry, have 10 beers and work up the courage to ask someone to dance with us when the cover band starts playing Daryl Braithwaite's The Horses. Now, when we're out on the town, we're all heads down, looking at our phones, praying to God that the blurring mugshot we've just said yes to on the dating app Bumble isn't in fact our second cousin Dave. Which coincidentally is a scene from my best-selling debut novel, Girl in Between, out now with Allen and Unwin on sale. Just over there to your right, ladies and gentlemen. Look, back in the good old days, we had values, particularly when it came to dating. We were giving people roses long before it was a fleeting fad on The Bachelor. These were lovely, innocent times where if you were swiping left or right, it merely meant your windscreen wipers were on. Now, people are swiping left and right on other people's nether regions. It is not pretty out there, ladies and gentlemen, and if nothing else, it's on this point alone which we should win tonight. I mean, what sort of world do we live in when the local postie can be online offering a very different sort of package to what we expect? It's outrageous. So governed by lovely values were we, ladies and gentlemen, that if this Tinder business had been around back in the good old days, we would have been swiping left and right on meals, judging people on how well they roast a chicken or crisp potatoes. So wholesome and lovely that I suspect the app wouldn't have been called Tinder, but Tender. Just like the steaks we've all been enjoying at Beef Week tonight. Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? Speaking of values and credibility, look, I really can't overlook these upstanding gentlemen on my right here. Here we have Freddo, a dedicated and learned GP, committed to serving his Central Queensland community. And Sam Kekovich, ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't mince his words. But that doesn't mean he's a wolf in sheep's clothing, no, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bona fide lamb/beef man of enormous status on the end here. Oh, and here we go, speaking of status, Jodie's just updated hers to, "We are not going well here tonight." It's already got 500 likes and 2 heart emojis from Lehmo and Paul. Oh, look, that's a shame in the middle of a debate, Jodie, to do that. But these millennials will have their short attention spans, ladies and gentlemen, won't they? Speaking of short attention spans, Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, back in the day, the office of the United States of America really meant something. It had our highest regard. Now, the world's gone mad and we've got the most powerful person on the planet, Trumpy, tweeting, and I quote, direct from his Twitter account, "Sorry, losers and haters, but my IQ is one of the highest, and you all know it. Please don't feel so stupid or insecure, it's not your fault." Ladies and gentlemen, it's also not your fault that the world has gone the way it has and that, like me, you're hankering for the good old days because you are not the only one. Allow me to conclude by quoting a wise sage that I found in my research, who likes to be known as Anonymous. Back in my day, we played outside, not online. Parents called our name, not our mobile phone. And if you didn't eat what Mum cooked, you didn't eat. Ladies and gentlemen, I think there's no doubt where you stand on the good old days. The affirmative side here tonight, you simply can't beat them. Thank you.
The winning side, the affirmative!
Well done.
Oh, not another medallion.
Well done, Sam.
Well done, Freddie.